Hi, sixth graders. So today we are going to talk about exponents. So when we first learned multiplication, we probably represented multiplication using repeated addition. Or if we had 4 times 3, we'd say 4 plus 4 plus 4 to get our answer. Our basic exponent operations can be represented in a very similar way. We can represent basic exponent operations by using repeated multiplication. So our exponents normally look something like this. We have our b, our smaller number, or our bigger number, sorry. When I say bigger, I mean bigger in size. And our n, or our exponent. And this number is kind of floating up in the corner. So remember that our larger number, or our bottom number, is called our base, and the floating number is called the exponent. So what the exponent does is it tells us how many times we multiply b, or the base, times itself. So b is multiplied by itself n number of times. So what that looks like is, if we look at our first example, we have 4 to the power of 3, or 4 times 4 times 4. And that would give us the answer 64. What we did was we looked at our exponent to tell us how many times to multiply our base by itself. Since our exponent is 3, we multiply 4 times itself 3 times to get 64. And if we look at our next example, 1 to the power of 5, we do the same thing. We multiply our base times itself 5 times. And that would give us 1. And in our last example, we have 3 to the power of 2. So what that would look like, using repeated multiplication, would be 3 times 3, which would equal 9. So when we say an exponent out loud, we can say to the power of, and then that exponent. But there are a couple of different ways too. So if we have a number that has a power of 2, like 3 to the power of 2, we can say 3 squared. Or if we have a number to the power of 3, like 4 to the power of 3, we can say 4 cubed. So if you see those vocabulary terms, that's all they mean. So let's look at a couple more examples. So number 1 is 2 to the power of 5, or 2 times itself 5 times. That would give us the answer 32. If we look at example number 2, we have 5 to the power of 3, or 5 cubed, which means 5 times itself 3 times, which would give us an answer of 125. Now in number 3, we're going to be looking at 10 to the power of 3, or 10 times 10 times 10, which would give us 1,000. So this is called a power of 10. And powers of 10 will always only have ones and zeros in the answer. You'll never see any other numbers in the answer. But remember, that is only for powers of 10. That means the base number is 10. Now for number 4, we have 12 to the power of 1, or 12 times itself one time. And that would just equal 12, which brings us to another rule. Any number to the first power, or to the power of 1, is itself, since you're only multiplying that base number by itself one time. Another important rule to remember is that any number to the power of 0 is 1. So you can have any number in the world. Doesn't matter what it is, how big or how small it is. If it's to the power of 0, then the answer is 1. Now let's get back to these examples. If we look at number 5, we have 10 to the power of 5. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which would equal 100,000. Now there's something I want you to notice about this one and about number 3. Look at the exponent, and then count how many zeros there are in the answer. Those numbers should be the same if we're looking at powers of 10. So that means 10 to the power of 5, the answer has 5 zeros, just like in 100,000. That's how we know that that answer is correct. We could do the same thing with 10 cubed. Our exponent is 3. 1,000 has 3 zeros. But that is only for powers of 10. So let's look at number 6. We have 10 to the power of 13. Now instead of writing out 10 times itself 13 times and then multiplying, I can use that thing that we noticed and just add 1 and then 13 zeros after that to find what 10 to the power of 13 is. So there's one other thing that I want you to be aware of. Now this isn't something that we're necessarily using right now, since we're not using exponents with negative integers, but I do want you to be aware of it for when it happens. The base number is only what is directly in front of that power, or the exponent. So if you have a negative number, that negative symbol will not be included in the base if it doesn't have parentheses around it. So negative 2 to the power of 4 will be 2 times itself 4 times with the negative symbol in the front, meaning that our answer would always be negative. Now if we have negative 2 in parentheses to the power of 4, then we're multiplying that base number, negative 2, times itself 4 times. And that changes whether our answer is positive or negative. In this case, it becomes positive. So that is our lesson on exponents. If you have any questions, please be sure to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Have a fantastic rest of your day, 6th graders.